Hey everyone, welcome to On Tap. I'm Chris, and today we are revisiting a brewery from Season 1, Sam Adams. Now, why are we revisiting a Season 1 brewery? Well, the answer is quite simple. Sam Adams, as I alluded to in a previous episode, linked down below, makes a lot of different kinds of beer. And since in that episode we only tried a few of them, I figured why not sample some more? So in this video, we're going to be going through Sam Adams' summer varieties. If you want to learn more about the history of Sam Adams, what the company is sort of currently up to, that kind of stuff, check out the Season 1 video. This is just going to be a quick flavor profile, and then we get right into the tasting. So without any further ado, let's get started. So aside from the classic Sam Adams flagship Vienna style lager, today we will also be trying Porch. This one has a serious lemon kick. It's inspired by Rattlers or Radlers, which are basically German styles of mixing beer with lemonade or lemon soda, and traditionally this beverage is consumed in the summer. Summer wheat ale. This wheat ale is going to have some citrus notes to it, notably lemon, lime, and orange. Beach Session Ipa. This IPA is going to have a lot of tropical sort of fruity flavors in it, and should also have a clean finish along with those characteristic hoppy notes one would associate with an IPA. Lawn Chair Lager. Now, unlike the classic Sam Adams Vienna style lager, this is a pale lager, or what you'd characterize more as a sort of classic beer, and it's going to have some very slight notes of strawberry and honeydew. Let's get into the Sam Adams beers of summer. But first, we really should review the classic, shouldn't we? It's just this very nice blend of your classic lager with just a little bit more going on to it. There's sort of a tiny little bit of, almost like caramel-ness to it, sort of not quite a sweetness, but just a little bit of that extra fullness to the beer. Right, it feels it's got a nice fullness to it, a little bit of caramel, the malt's very much there, there's a bit of that hops, but it's not too much, there's a little bit of dryness, but there's not too much dryness, and you've just got a nice, well-balanced mix of enjoyable flavors that one would have with a beer. I even remember with the, when we did the American Lager taste test, maybe throw a link in that below, this was, really pretty much one of the top picked beers. So all in all, the Sam Adams Boston Lager is just, it's a very classic, well done American lager beer with some extra notes to it beyond what you're gonna have with just your regular sort of Pilsner style. All in all, very enjoyable beer. I will say the beers of summer are gonna have some stiff competition going up against this one. Nonetheless, let's see how they stack up. So next up, we have Porch, the Lemon Rattler or Radler. The idea of the Rattler beer, it became popular with cyclists in sort of Germany and sort of Central Western Europe in general, where it was the kind of thing you drink after a hard day of cycling, sort of around the European countryside, and you get a bit of that lemon soda, lemonade, with of course a bit of good beer, good German beer, and I can definitely smell the lemon in this. It's coming through quite strongly. So that's very nice, actually. Honestly, it tastes like beer mixed with lemonade or lemon soda. It's a very nice blend of what you'd associate with beer, along with the nice kind of almost like sweetness of a lemonade, but it's not too sweet or like cloyingly sweet. It's a little bit tangy, it's a little bit sweet. The tanginess and the sweetness of the lemonade, or that flavor, is blended very well into the beer. And yeah, this is an excellent summer drink, I will say. Yeah, if I'm thinking that it's really hot out, it's buggy, it's humid, you're in sort of some of that northeastern American heat, or even down south, New Orleans, Carolinas, what have you, and you want to be, rocking on the porch, this is a good drink to go with. So, third, we have the Summer Ale Citrus Wheat. I'm getting more of just a citrusy blend kind of smell on this, and they're all sort of mixed together. I can't pick out like a specific flavor, like lemon with this one. This is also a lemony beer, but it's sort of a different style of lemon from this one. This is much more on that sort of tangy, citrusy, non-sweet lemonade side. It's almost like a taste preference. It's sort of, do you prefer beer that has the underlying notes of non-sweet lemonade or beer that has the underlying taste profile of sort of semi-sweet lemonade? That could honestly affect which of these you would prefer. I don't know about any of the lime or the orange. There might be, it's pretty much just a much more non-sweet version of something like the Porch Rocker. In terms of how much I'm enjoying it, at least, it's certainly interesting, but I don't know in terms of how much I'm enjoying it. Let's keep going. On to Beach Session IPA. Yeah, definitely bright and hoppy. Yeah, I would say that's quite, it's quite a bright beer. It's quite a bright and summery beer. And there's definitely some hops in there, not super strong in the scheme of an IPA. This is definitely, if you like the turbo strength IPAs, you're probably gonna be disappointed by this. If you don't like turbo strength IPAs, you will probably quite enjoy this. The hoppiness, the IPA kind of feeling is definitely there, but it's woven in with sort of just like a general feeling of summer and refreshing, yeah, cleanliness to the way this beer finishes. Here's kind of how I'd put it. The first thing that I'm getting on this is some hoppiness. Not super strong, but it's the most clear note there. Unsurprising, it's an IPA. It's not too much hoppiness. It's within the bounds of acceptability for me, and it's not super sort of clinging to my palate, which I like. There's still a little bit of dryness in my palate, but it's not too much. The next point after that, and this is when they sort of talk about like a tropical aroma with this beer, is I would describe a mix of sort of undefined but sort of vaguely sweet, tropical, fruity kind of flavors in sort of a medley. And then below that, of course, you've got your basic foundation, which is sort of, you know, the beer with your kind of your malts and sort of the body of what you'd think of as sort of a typical beer. It's still, just because of the hoppiness with IPAs, it's gonna make it so that I'm not gonna have a lot of it. And in terms of ranking, at least, you know, I'm gonna put it more maybe like here. But nonetheless, all in all, in the scheme of an IPA to drink in the summer, you know, perfectly fine. All right, and finally, at last, we have Lawn Chair Lager. So, very much unlike, as I said, the Vienna lager, this is a pale lager, or what we might describe as one of my, as I keep referencing her, but as one of my best friends describe it, you know, beer that tastes like beer. Or does it? We shall see. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a lager beer. The brewery says it's pomegranate and strawberry. Really subtle notes there. It's fine. I think partly maybe what this is because, at least when it comes to a lot of the different things Sam Adams has made, some of the other beers I've tried, I do hold the brewery up, I think, to a reasonable standard in terms of what they're making. But I think in comparison to a lot of other Sam Adams beers, many of which have these sort of very characteristic notes to them and flavors, this one's, it's kind of fine. I will say though, and actually this is a total aside, one thing I do really like is the colors on all of these beers. You know, good, just nice, enjoyable tropical colors. You know, if you're somewhere maybe in the Caribbean or something, even though, you know, this is a brewery in Massachusetts, but nonetheless, I don't know, for me, it works. I like it. I like the sort of the monochromatic, bold colors that kind of, especially as a group, just they all sort of work together. Okay, so that's that. So in conclusion, all of these beers are reasonably good to classic. I mean, I'd say, the Sam Adams Boston Lager, it's a classic beer. It's an American institution.
It's an American institution.
Anyway, so in last place, I will put the Lawn Chair Lager. If I were to have this lager lined up against lots of other lagers, it might stack up reasonably well. A beer that is just sort of a very kind of typical summer lager with some very, very slight fruity notes, really, really subtle fruity notes, that's easy to sip on, it's just fine. It's fine. It's a fine lager. Fourth place, Summer Ale. This one is interesting, right? Because it's got that sort of very non-sweet lemon lime citrusy flavor to it. It's quite bold. And it's definitely making more of a statement than something like the Lawn Chair Lager. The tanginess of that lemon lime flavor, I think after a while I would want to switch to something else, but it is still an interesting thing to work into a beer, and it definitely fits with the sort of the theme of summer. The Beach Session IPA, what I like about this is you've got that sort of hoppiness and it's not too much, and it's underpinned by that medley of sort of tropical fruit. So in the scheme of IPAs, and this is by my standard, of course, I could certainly have one of these. I wouldn't turn my nose up at it, and especially if it was hot outside and it was the summer, and we're outdoors, the sun's shining, we're doing summery things. Someone says, "Hey, Beach Session IPA," I'd say, "Yeah." If it's ice cold, absolutely. Again, it's that feeling of summer, right? These bright, bold, monochromatic, but yet very sort of visually pleasing colors. I think of drinking this thing ice cold. Second place, I quite like this, the Porch Rocker, the Rattler, the Rattler. What's so nice about it is the fact that it's that mix of lemonade, but I personally, I don't know about you, I like my lemonade a little sweeter compared to the Summer Ale, right? I think of all of these, the Porch Rocker is the most refreshing. If you were to have one of them, this is the most refreshing of all of the beers here. That if it were really hot and I was just thinking, I need something just to be refreshing and to just make me feel kind of like ready to go, this would be an excellent one to do it. And then, and maybe you could say I'm biased, that I quite like this one. I think just in all senses of the word, the classic Boston lager, the classic Sam Adams Vienna style Boston lager is still number one. For me, it's a classic beer. It's just got that nice blend of different components, dryness, maltiness, caramel, good body, all of the things that make up a nice lager that's very easy to drink, but it's got just a bit more complexity to it than something like the Lawn Chair Lager, and you just you keep coming back, and it's like it's like sort of a beer that you love, and whenever you see it, all right, that one's gonna be perfectly fine. So anyway, that's my assessment. Hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, Sam Adams makes a ton of different beers, so I'm hoping now that I've done fall and I've done summer, let's see if I can maybe even do winter and spring. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you thought this was sort of an interesting breakdown of the summer beer collection. Let me know if you have different thoughts on this, if you would rank this these beers very differently, and I'll see you next time.